The U.S. imposed tariffs are due to come into effect on Friday. Washington has imposed 30% with a threat of an additional 10% on any country aligning with BRICS nations' policies. South Africa will need to seek out alternative markets for its critical minerals exports if the U.S. imposes stiff tariffs. That's according to Mineral and Petroleum Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe. Let's now speak to Sophie Mokoena, SABC News International editor, who has been tracking this for us. Sophie, it's been the big one, and with the addition of India, it can only, it seems for more people, it can only get worse from here. What has been the reaction from these countries, particularly when you look at India and China?
Well, President Trump earlier on posted on Truth Social that indeed on the 1st of August, he is going to impose these tariffs. And of course, India facing 25%. We saw a reaction from Prime Minister Modi saying that he will fight for the interest of India. And therefore, it speaks to a defiant Prime Minister. Many people thought that it was going to be easy for India because India has got a cordial relationship with the U.S. and the leadership of the U.S. We saw the Vice President Vance visiting India recently, and therefore people were thinking that behind the scenes there's an agreement that's pending, but clearly there isn't an agreement. And therefore, if you have the United States of America taking a tough stance against a country that's seen as a friend of the United States of America, it means others are not in a better position. We saw just now again with China the same issue, that there's no agreement. Yes, the Foreign Affairs Minister of China and the Secretary of Treasury met with his counterpart from China trying to find a solution, but there's no announcement. There are reports that with China there might be a postponement, but it's not guaranteed. You have President Trump saying, come Friday, it's happening. And therefore, this is what's happening with the two most powerful nations. In terms of population size, the two, China and India, and that speaks to the GDP and the buying power. The manufacturing hub of technology, it's China, and we are told now India has surpassed China, and therefore these are very important countries, members of BRICS, and therefore the defiance speaks to when we were in Brazil, the communique, the statement that was released by member states of BRICS was very, very firm in terms of ensuring that autonomy of countries, be it political or trade or economic, they will fight for the autonomy and the independence of countries, including that they will make friends with whoever they feel comfortable with. So I think President Trump is not reading the mood. That BRICS summit in Brazil was a turning point.
And especially because when you look at what he posts on Truth Social, right, he says, remember, while India is our friend, we have over the years done relatively little business with them. And then he goes on and he goes on. Then immediately after that, he says, we have a massive tariff deficit with India. And one wonders, because right now, South Africa is also watching what's happening with keen interest. Has there been an update as far as the negotiations are concerned there?
There hasn't been an update. The last time I spoke to a government senior official, I spoke to the Minister of International Relations on Sunday before his departure to New York, where he was going to participate at the UN conference on Palestine, as you saw him yesterday. And I did ask him about this. And he indicated that they are continuing to talk, but it is in the hands of the Department of Trade and Industry. I did speak to the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry when we were in Brazil, Gwede. He indicated that they are talking, and the argument here is that South Africa is disputing the numbers based on what the U.S. is saying. I think that's the sticking point. And of course, we know that South Africa is saying we have rare minerals and we can negotiate using that strength. But we know that already America had excluded the rare minerals because they know they need these rare minerals, particularly because the US is saying we want to bring back manufacturing in our country. And then new industrial development revolves around rare minerals, with technology being an issue here. And you need the rare minerals to have those phones, to have those laptops, AI, and all of that. So the Industrial Revolution, previously it was coal. Africa was left out. This time around, Africa is saying, we are not going to be left out. If you take our minerals, beneficiation must happen on the continent.
Briefly, just before I let you go, last night it seems that the US president is taking issue with South Africa again. Will this have any impact on the G20 summit?
Well, I think we must look at the meetings that South Africa hosted thus far, either at technocrat level, at labor, civil society, and also ministerial. For me, when you talk about G20, you're talking about political level, the heads of state and government, the foreign affairs ministers and the Minister of International Relations have been discussing to ensure that the geopolitics don't derail the summit in December. Now, the departments that are tasked with responsibility of negotiating issues related to trade and investment, and also how you manage the situation where we don't find ourselves in a situation where the whole world has got economic challenges, as we saw initially when the G20 was launched, with the purpose of addressing at that time the financial challenges the globe had. We see a situation where finance ministers, including the central bank governors of the G20, met in KZN. And for the first time after 3 years, fortunately we've been covering the G20. We know for the past 3 years, it has been very difficult for G20 ministerial level or government head of state level to come up with a communique. But this time around, it was a coup for South Africa, economic coup or political coup, you name it, at geopolitical level, because the ministers of finances did come up with a communique, and they are supporting South Africa's theme. And therefore, whether America comes or America doesn't come, the meeting will go ahead. Remember, G20, not G1, which is America. And included, you have the whole European Union as a group. You have the African Union now being a member. And therefore, the G20 is not the same G20 that was launched when America was still powerful and calling the shots. It's a different G20. And therefore, I think with or without...
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.